Hey there. Welcome to Wonderfully Knit Podcast. This is episode number 11. This is a video podcast or blog about me and what it's like to be me. a rather crafty, non-traditional pre-med hopeful currently in an application cycle. Our show notes, as always, can be found at our blog spot, Wonderfully Knit Podcast. wonderfullyknitpodcast.blogspot.com. Wonderfully Knit Podcast is all one word. As well as our group at Ravelry. Go to ravelry.com, click on the groups tab, and then in the search bar, just search for Wonderfully Knit Podcast. 3 words. And you should find our group. Links to Ravelry and to the blog spot if they don't pop up in this video after I'm done with editing, will be in the YouTube blurb that is associated with this video on YouTube. You can also subscribe to YouTube if you're not interested in going to either of those sites, and you'll get the updates as I post these, as I'm available. Talking about when I post these, when I'm available, it's been a couple of weeks since my last posting of a video, and that is because we've had some family medical issues that I have been helping deal with. These things pop up. I have been taking care of some family, driving some family around, and then, getting me and my eldest to do some yard work. I moved a tree, a not small tree. I was not going to be doing much after that. But now everybody's fine. Everybody's recovering and headed into a really good weekend where I'm going to an SCA event with my hubby while the girls are at Camp Grandma. And that'll be really great. Oh, more about that in a minute, actually. My hair. I'm having a bad hair day, but last night I watched Gotham, and Fish Mooney's character is wearing a head wrap. This is technically just a headband. But it reminded me that, hey, sometimes, a bad hair day is covered by a nice head wrap. And so I'm doing this. Incidentally, apropos of nothing, the exact style that she's wearing right now is straight out of medieval into, at the very least, the 16th century. In Europe, in Northern Europe, on all manner of people. Although generally they are people who are working poor, working that kind of thing. Anyway, but it dates from far earlier. So I've always thought that was interesting. And of course, it is a cultural artifact for more than a couple of regions in Africa, also during the same time, possibly predating. It's entirely possible. There's a lot of various innovations that came out of the area, the area that those currently generate from today. I think hair wraps are awesome. So anyway, so that's why the hair wrap. I'm having a terrible hair day, and I'm not going to be fixing it. And you guys can see from here forward. That's great. So on to projects. Yes. Okay, so this is a project that I was showing you guys the start of last week, and trust that the beer bottle that I'm using to display it is appropriate. So this is about as much as you guys saw. That's about as much as you guys saw last week, right? Well, this week there's this much. Right? Okay. And I've turned the corner and blah, blah, blah. Fish lipstick is heel. Yay. So the idea, you can see that there's a bit of a lace pattern going on there. Yeah. Little lace. Looks a little effervescent. Yeah. The idea is that it looks like a nice pour of a very famous Irish stout. And it totally does. See, there's this fluffy part, this kind of bubbly looking part that really resembles the head. Anyway, I thought that was really charming. And I had a knit along that I was participating in this month, and the theme was food and drink, and I saw that. I was like, oh, that's it. I'm doing that. The yarn is the top white cuff is just some red heart, heart and soul in white. The brown kind of multicolored semi-solid body I don't know what you really want to call that, but the body is a discontinued Schaefer yarn line called Heather. So naturally, I approve. And the colorway is actually very attractive browns, and it is Julia Child's. They still use that colorway, so if you're interested, check out Schaefer yarns. My other projects that I have started, both of them are actually from Cookie A's pattern, or excuse me, Cookie A's book, Knit Sock Love. I own her first book as well, but I got it for this one. One of the great things that I really love about this book, number one, the photography is excellent. And when I say that the photography is excellent, I mean that not only is the photography artistically minded with setup in mind and this kind of thing, but in addition, it shows you useful pictures of what you're knitting. So many knitting books have this problem where the photographer is like, go to do what they do, and that's great, and you get some beautiful shots, but for the purposes of determining if you want to knit what's in the shot, they're almost useless. You know, what if you need to see what the back looks like because there's a back detail, but it's not in the pictures? It's happened. So anyway, both of these socks that I'm going to be talking about are from the book, Knit Sock Love. Recommend the heck out of anything Cookie A does because I'm like that. So this is actually a bit of a departure for me. I'm trying to get, this yarn is not going to be neat before I get it up on the camera, y'all. And that's because it's been sitting in the bag for a couple of days and my daughter has pulled it out and put it back a couple times, my youngest. Anyway, but here's this. The yarn is Lorna's Laces. It's the shepherd sock, not the soulmate. It's a shepherd sock. And you can see, yeah, you can see some of the pattern happening right there, right there. The pattern name is Lissajous. And Lissajous. It is a reference. Cookie A is a mathematician, from what I understand, or at least has a math degree. And Lissajous is a visual representation of a certain kind of phasing behavior of some lines regarding sound. That's about as good as I think I'm going to get in that explanation right now because I'm not a mathematician. However, basically it looks like a kind of standing wave to me. and they intertwine. And that's going to be the double bars of, there's a small amount of intertwining lines that go up both sides in the front and both sides in the back. So anyway, there's that. And then, ow! And then technically this is my last project, but I started this just last night while we were watching Gotham and catching up on The Flash. And I only got like 2 or 3 rows. Seriously, that's like 2 or 3 rows right there. Yeah. And basically I had started this yarn as a toe for a sock and I really just didn't know where I wanted to go with it. And last night I was fed up with that. And so I frogged it. You can see the kinking in the yarn happening from where it was frogged. The yarn is Lang Yavol Superwash 7525. And the neat thing about this is you can feel it right now. I'm not going to pull it out right now, but you can feel there's a spool of matching reinforcement nylon thread that's super useful for including in, you just including as a carrier yarn in your areas that tend to wear out fast. So like your heels or the balls of your feet, that kind of thing. It's good to place there, and help your knits last better. And that's my last project. However, I have determined that what I want to do is a bit of a giveaway because I really like the Fish Lips Kiss heel and I want more people to like it as well. So what I'm going to do, if you guys will comment on Blogspot or YouTube or over on the group, especially over on the group, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give away 3 copies of the Fish Lips Kiss heel in about, I don't know, a month. We'll give it a month. So comment do me a favor and let me know the ways that you would use the fish lips kiss heel. A lot of times when I want to use it, it involves having to do some modifications. For example, I might not use it on some of these cookie A patterns because it will require some modifications, especially for Lisa Zhu. Lisa Zhu actually has a diamond on the back of the heel flap that I would like to actually keep. I think it's a pretty design. But at the same time, I can also see where, what if I want to put that in a shoe with the heel? That's going to rub up and maybe be one of the first spots to wear. That's not really what I want to do. So, let me know about patterns you would modify to use the Fish Lips Kiss heel. This will also give me more patterns of socks to choose from in the future. So I appreciate that. But anyway, yeah, so in about 1 month's time, I'll set an alarm or set an event and do a drawing for 3 people to win a copy of the Fish Lips Kiss heel pattern, which I will purchase. Yeah, I should say that I'm going to be buying all of these and giving them away. They are not coming from the pattern maker. She has no consideration in this that she's given to me. This is just generally the rule for everything that I mention on the podcast as well. As of yet, I've received no materials in exchange for a review or anything. These are all items from my own stash or items I have purchased with my own money. And so all reviews are spontaneous and not in exchange for any kind of payment. So there's that. All right, I think that's all of my projects. Oh, except for the SCA thing. This weekend I'm teaching a class specifically in hand sewing for the Elizabethan era clothing. So it's going to be a 2-part class, and the first part is going to be a bit of lecture, and the second part is going to be hands-on. And I'm kind of looking forward to that. I've already got the writing done for the lecture portion. And for a lot of you who are familiar with hand sewing, and especially reenactment hand sewing, this is not exactly, we call them the Big 5. Basically, the idea is that there's about 5 stitches that you really need to know in order to do hand sewing. They're all, those are your basic 5 stitches. And this is not exactly a basic 5 stitches class. There's going to be some of those, of course, because you're never going to get away from running stitch. But this will expand beyond that into fairly specific stitches used in Elizabethan clothing, as I know it. And so that's going to be interesting. I really like to teach because to an extent, I like to hear myself talk. But I do enjoy teaching and helping people do this stuff better that I know how to teach them to do better. So that's going to be great. And of course, it's an SCA event weekend. And if it chooses to rain, I am told that the person who is arranging the classes and coordinating classes is bringing a Nibblies tray and some wine. So if it rains, we will have something to do. So that'll be nice. Spending time with a bunch of people that I really enjoy spending time with anyway. It'll be great. So looking forward to that. So pre-med. Okay, pre-med moment. Man, we're getting up on that time. Ooh, that time of year. Those of us who are on the wait list, on the active hold list, will be transferring to a ranked hold list in some cases. And a somewhat different hold list or an alternates arrangement, depending on your school. So this is what's going on for the pre-meds in your life who don't necessarily have an acceptance to the school that they were wanting. So by the end of April, your schools in the United States who are participating in the AMC are supposed to have given out all of the initial acceptances that they will be offering. After April 30th, all of their offers should now come off their alternates list, their hold list, their wait list. Those are all words for the same thing, really. So all of those students, all of those offers made by April 30th, you have 2 weeks to accept them. And so by May 15th, we're supposed to have every student who previously held multiple acceptances, right? Like an acceptance to 3 or 4 different schools. They're supposed to pick the one most likely that they're going to go to and release all the others. Let those schools know, I will not be attending your school. I have an acceptance elsewhere. Thank you very much, blah, blah, blah. What this does is this allows the people to come off of the wait and the hold lists, which at that point are usually ranked, or at the very least divided into sections of, higher priority and lower priority students for coming off the wait list. It depends on how their committees adjust that. So it's that time of year. It is also the time of year where if you think you're going to be looking at a reapplication cycle for next year, you need to get started if you haven't already. I'm going to be assuming that I need to, I'm just going to be, it stinks. It's a bit depressing. This process really stinks, but I will be rewriting my personal statement. I will be getting another committee letter. I will be going out there and seeking more letters of recommendation. I will be doing all of the things that I need to do in order to get my application in as soon as possible. I will be applying to more schools, applying more broadly. I'll still be applying to my state schools because I really want to stay here. I love my state for all its faults and foibles. And you get that started, and I'm going to be studying to take the MCAT again. I really don't want to take the MCAT again. Really, people, the MCAT is a test that you want to take only once. And even then, you're only taking it because you gotta. So don't take the MCAT again if you don't need to. Basically, what happened with me is because I'm a non-traditional student and I was not in a formal post-baccalaureate program. I was doing my own. So what was happening is that I was taking undergrad classes, upper division undergrad science classes, and I really didn't know it, and neither would my advisors have known. For various reasons, but my advisors wouldn't have known to say, hey, you know what? You need to wait another year before you take the MCAT because there's these 3 classes you need to take. 2 of them are all year classes before you're going to be super comfortable on the MCAT. Now, I performed, especially for somebody who hasn't taken 3 major classes that are featured on the MCAT. I performed really well on the MCAT. However, I can always improve my MCAT. Retake it with those classes under my belt and expect to get 3 points or higher. By the way, don't take the MCAT again unless you think you're going to get 3 points at least higher. If you think you're going to go down, don't even show up. Consider that money lost, and it's a learning lesson. Do not retake the MCAT if you think you're going to do worse. That's awful. Don't do that. So, yeah, so I'm looking at getting ramped up for the MCAT again. And of course, now it's the new MCAT. So now I will have all of the additional parts as well. I'm not exactly worried about that because my education has covered those parts that they have added, like the sociology and the psychology and, all of that other stuff that they've added. I write well. So even though my version of the MCAT did not have the writing portion on there, I will of course review for the MCAT for the writing portion, but I'm less worried about that portion because I tend to do that well already. I have some small things published elsewhere, and so I feel moderately confident about that. And yeah, so getting ready for that. But now is the time of year where you make that decision. Okay, do I want to do this another year? And I have decided that as soul crushing as it is, I will take the MCAT again if I need to because I want to be a doctor, and do what other work I can to improve my my status as an applicant outside of outside of my GPA because that part's done. There's not any more really classes available for me unless I really want to get a degree, and that's going to be stuff like math and I really don't need another degree. I've already proven that I can do a 4-year degree, and another degree just seems like something that wouldn't be particularly, it would be more of a notch on my belt, notch on my lipstick case instead of something that would actually be more useful to me in the future because I can say, I have post-baccalaureate study as well. So I'm not really looking to go back to finish up a degree that I don't really need. Um, yeah, but meh, that's life. It happens sometimes. Hopefully, I will hear that I'm getting off the wait lists, the hold lists, here when things start churning. That would be really great. My schools from last year were telling me that I was actually really high on the wait list. There just wasn't a lot of movement last year and the year before, actually. I looked at the records from various different places, but it doesn't appear like last year or the year before there was a whole lot of movement off the wait list, which is fairly unusual. Um, some people were saying it was because some folks have their logarithms down better. I'm not sure that makes a whole lot of sense considering how long medical schools have been doing this, but we'll see. And so, yeah, I'm interested in seeing how that goes for me. Really interested in seeing how that goes for me. I really want that to go positively for me. I really want it to be a problem that I have to work out how we're going to transport the chickens. I really want that to be a problem for my life. Please let that be a problem for my life. Anyway, so, all right, I'm going to get off of here. I'm going to go do some stuff. And we will see you hopefully next week. I hope you have a really great one. Once again, comment regarding the patterns that you would change that you would alter and the ways you think it would alter your favorite sock pattern that you would apply the fish lips kiss heel to. Let me know. We'll talk to you later. Bye.